Wait, so you mean Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and other big tech companies can scan your face and store it into a data bank in addition to, tapping into data which you thought was completely private, all for targeting systems or to sell to the highest bidder? No, they wouldn't do that. They're our buddies, our chums. They would never do that to us. Hey my dudes, how's it hanging? It's your boy ZNF1 here. So today I thought I would discuss with you guys a little bit about the topic of advancing AI and facial recognition software, in addition to the abuses we are already seeing and the potential future problems and predicaments that might become a reality due to what is currently going on if left unchecked. That being said, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. What is the current status on surveillance, facial recognition software, and AI, and how those kind of like cohere together and intermingle with one another? We're going to take a look at that in addition to like the potential extremely negative outcomes of scenario of this, and like how powers could change from this and be misused for sort of a tyrannical state. Alrighty, so Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and other big tech companies can tap into your phone and take pictures of your faces without your consent, and they sometimes even store them for like whatever reasons to give to the highest bidders. Maybe the FBI might want something, or the CIA, NSA, etc., etc. Basically, varying people in the communities, people that are willing to pay enough money for it.
Photos are culled from social media images, driver's licenses, and government IDs. The report argues the biometric network primarily includes law-abiding Americans. The Georgetown Law School's study on facial recognition found 26 police departments use the technology, and 16 states allow the FBI to tap into their systems.
The amount of security cameras that I have noticed being put up in like the past 2 years in varying places across the world is a little bit ridiculous, and it's kind of like, why do we need so many security cameras? A lot of people might argue, oh, it's because of all this stuff that happened and blah, blah, blah. I understand having security cameras, inside a store and all that, but I've seen stuff outside of stores. I'm just like, wow, that is ridiculous. You literally could sit here and see so much shit from all the crap that happened the past year from cameras inside the store. Like, or, on streets, like several streets, almost not like the goal is to go on every single street, which isn't really necessary, like I understand like busy intersections, stuff like that, it's given, to kind of help with that a bit. There's a certain point where it's like excessive amount. If you have cameras on every major street, or like every single street in any sort of like congregation, it's a little bit excessive. Like, either way, that should be ultimately up to each city, etc., etc., to determine. Then there's kind of like the issue, though, of bias and AI to add to this. So, like, if there's like an AI system, right, and the creator of said AI system happens to think that you're a criminal, that AI system is going to target you and look at you as nothing but a criminal. So imagine like the usage of this in facial recognition software that's being used when you're potentially being constantly monitored. If you go to apply for jobs, etc., etc., It can really fuck you over if you're mislabeled as a criminal and this is like monopolized for government and work use. It could prevent people from getting jobs, and it could even arguably be leading to like a surveillance state like China currently has, and like a social point structure, which is extremely totalitarian. This AI could be used potentially to track anybody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 375 days a year. Technology being mass produced and commercialized like this could be extremely detrimental to humans with the irrational AI programming biases.
And there's some that constantly photograph your screen, like every 5 seconds, and can almost create a rolling video of what you're doing at every point. So they can see every single thing you type in, and at the end of the day, your boss or somebody in the human resources department can see all the things you type.
Sneak takes your photo at a regular interval. You can control how often your photo is taken by selecting between 1 minute or 5 minute intervals.
Now, according to New York Times, Vox, and NBC Chicago, in 2020, Facebook was charged a $650 million lawsuit because they were using this facial recognition software they had and storing people's faces into a databank without their consent. How fucked up is that? It's not the only time Facebook has abused its power at all, neither. So imagine if this was the case for, the government or many other big tech companies, like the fact of the matter that they have the ability to do that so much, and especially on like a commercial grade level, it'd be extremely fucked up, especially if they're able to do it 24 hours a day, because that literally would mean that whoever controls that sort of technology or produces that is going to have the power, and they're going to be a part of that chain, and it's going to lead more so to the totalitarian state, given with how people are and how selfish the people that are currently at the top of the world are. You have to think about how seriously fucked up it can get if the stuff keeps continuing to happen, especially with the amount of freaking censorship that's been going on for the past freaking year. In regards to my statements earlier that I said on the extreme or the decent increase in placement of security cameras in cities and on businesses and everything like that. If this keeps happening, and it gets to that point that I mentioned earlier where it's damn near in every part of the city or any sort of congregation, there wouldn't eventually be no privacy at all. And this would all be in the claims of for your security. You'd be trading up your privacy and part of your freedoms, so to speak, for their security. There would be no privacy if it gets to this case where they're monitoring people 24 hours a day like they do in China, for example. In the advancing world of AI and facial recognition software being used for security and everything like that, companies or big tech giants like Amazon, Google, Facebook, etc., would hold all the power. And these are all companies that are part of the 1%. AI is currently being used for things like targeting and data harvesting, specifically ad targeting for a lot of things. Companies like Facebook and Google are pretty decently involved in things like this, and they've been known to do it prior. And a lot of this is part of their extremely long contracts or agreements that they have you guys sign bi-weekly or every month almost. But hush hush, you're not supposed to know that. People got to understand that half the time whenever you scroll through all those agreements and everything like that, you're just sitting there not even reading it. You're literally agreeing to being monitored at any time and giving access away to your camera for them to use it, and data that you are supposed to have be private, or what you think would be private, being used to help target ads or getting companies to get money from you to buy their products. While you might think, oh yeah, That's cool. A lot of people are like, what the fuck? That's my own personal data. Why is my data being recorded and being essentially sold off to the highest bidder? It's really messed up. You guys got to understand that is what you're doing when you're not even reading those long agreements and contracts. You're sitting there just agreeing to all of that. You're agreeing to give away part of your privacies and freedom in exchange for, you know, the temporary placebo effect that you get from using these social medias and other things, or just to use their services. I've even done it myself, to be honest with you, and I realize that and I know that. I also do a lot of research on these topics through trusted sources on the internet and YouTube and people I know. So like, I know what I'm getting into half the time whenever I'm seeing these things. A lot of people don't bother to research stuff like this, so they don't understand. But that's like where we're at right now. So imagine where we'd be at by the year, you know, like 2030 or 10 years from now. The year 2030 has been repeated an extreme amount in the past freaking year and a half. I don't know. Maybe it'll be in effect by then. Alrighty, so that's gonna be it for us today, my dudes. If you guys did enjoy, please don't forget to, you know, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and then hit that bell icon so then you get notified whenever my next video drops. It really does mean a lot to me when you guys do this, and helps to show me that you guys are enjoying what I'm putting out there for you. And as usual, my dudes, with that being said, please don't forget to live long and prosper and take care in peace. And please don't forget to, you know, just keep it 1,000,000% real, bros. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Yeah.
I swear that y'all believe that being offended just means that you're right. Hey, I swear that y'all just want to be the only ones who everyone lies. Hey, I swear if I swear at you ninnies, you probably so triggered you cry. And nobody wants to be real. Everyone's scared of how everyone feels. We become so ultra sensitive and hyper tolerant that honestly, honesty gonna be illegal.